All right, welcome to The Prize. My name is Danny Sigelman, and it's a new podcast I've been wanting to get out into the world for a while here, and I got to interview Adam DeGross for this first episode. It's a really cool interview. Adam's a pretty fascinating guy, photographer primarily, who travels the world, most notably with Post Malone. If you follow him on Instagram, he's always up to something with various rappers and performers, and I know since then he traveled with Blink-182 a bit this summer, so I'm looking forward to probably having Adam come back sometime and give us an update. But I don't know about you, I had a really fun summer, a lot of music here in the Twin Cities, of course, fairly chill weather for the most part, and it just kind of flew by. State Fair was a lot of fun, and music galore. I'm going to go see the band Massive Attack tonight. Another big week of music here in the Twin Cities. Just saw Adam Ant this past weekend, and got a Descendants and Black Uhuru show coming up this week as well. Tycho. List goes on and on. But, I'm all about music and talking about music in the scene and the neighborhood here in Northeast Minneapolis. So I think that's kind of what this podcast will be all about, and we'll get you some socials out there so you can follow me, Paper Sleeves on Instagram and Twitter, and Danny Sigelman, your host for The Prize, kind of going on. I'm excited to kind of get this out into the world, and I really regret how long it's taken to get this first episode out, but finally it's here, and you're going to love hearing what Adam's all about and how he got to be such an interesting guy. I'll let the cat out right now. All right, check it out. Adam DeGross here on The Prize. Yeah, I sort of feel like... Hello. Testing.
Test. What's up? Yeah, what's good?
All right. I feel like I'm at a point where I'm trying to get less pop culture-y with stuff that I adorn.
Yeah.
But I really like that kind of stuff. But like the Guar photo, that Eric Hess.
Yeah, Eric. Yeah, he's cool.
He's really cool. I feel like he doesn't necessarily do it as much as he used to.
He works for like NASA or something now, or some space shit.
He works for NASA?
Really? No, he does like space shit now. Like he's like
really
he does like a really good job doing like some fucking real space shit.
Like not in Washington though, does he? I think anytime you can get close, you could even hold the mic if that's easier.
How are you? Eric Hess, NASA,
Eric.
Florida.
Very good.
There's no NASA space program anymore. It's all in Antarctica. It's the front. How's the moon lined up with the sun? How is there any solar eclipses? It's too crazy.
It kind of seems like science isn't of value. Like if you were to go to a elementary school now, do they talk about outer space, and do kids still aspire to be astronauts?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. It'd be too weird for me to be like checking it out. I don't know. Maybe. Like, I don't know. Because, you don't hear. Has there been a space launch in years?
I feel like, I don't know. No.
There hasn't.
No.
Because my friend says it's all done in Antarctica.
The space?
All the space shit's in Antarctica.
What do they mean by that?
Conspiracy shit.
The mapping? Oh, it's conspiracy.
You're not allowed down there, but why do people go there? People go there.
They go to Antarctica?
Yeah.
Well,
why allowed?
Have you ever seen the we were talking, so everything is going to end up being Metallica. Did you ever see the video of Metallica playing in Antarctica?
No.
They're one of the only bands that have ever played all 7 continents within the same year, including.
Is there people in it?
Including
there's
Antarctica.
No one down there, is there?
But there is.
They just play?
There's science.
Okay.
There's science, and Argentina has a base, and they did it for 100 lucky Argentinian Metallica fans.
Whoa.
Yeah, Google it.
Yeah, I will. I believe.
It's cool. And what's cool?
Antarctica, there's a lot of shit down there.
What they did is really cool too, because to not sonically affect the environment.
Yeah.
I.e., maybe damaging like Arctic drifts sonically. They just kind of wired it together so that it's broadcast to headphones that everybody
was wearing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Very conscious.
Yeah.
Metal of them.
You want to scare all the animals have never heard any other sounds before.
The penguins.
Other than what
bear,
exists.
and the aliens who are down there.
So Adam,
What's up?
yeah, how you doing? So I wanted to. This is thank you first of all for joining this kind of experiment here.
Yeah.
Um,
The trial run.
a trial run of this kind of podcast idea that I've had, and my idea was to kind of maybe bring in voices and ideas and stories that haven't really necessarily been examined as much. And you're probably more known. First of all, Adam DeGross.
DeGross.
Is that a Dutch name?
No, everyone thinks it's French because DEGROSS, but it's German because originally it was DEGROSS. It means the big in German.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're kind of a big guy.
I am a big guy, and my grandpa my grandma was 100% Irish. My grandpa was 100% German, and he spoke German, all this stuff. My mom's adopted, so I don't know. But yeah, just so it's a German name. But everyone, when I went to Germany with this punk band, like punk names like Adam the Big, like one of those stupid like call me Spider Boy or something, and they're like, oh, we didn't they're like, no, that name's kind of pretty. It's pretty uncommon here. Like it's I don't know. So yeah, that's why I thought it was French, but they're like, no, it's German.
You're OG.
Yeah.
Well, there's not many in the Minnesota, is there?
No, and if they're like, it'd be down in like Elko and like the farm areas and shit. Parents' house, to pick up some, because I don't like to get my Amazon stuff shipped to my house.
Yeah.
I get shipped to my parents because I live in the city and stuff goes missing. And I went down to get this taxidermied piranha, and I was driving. I was like, why the fuck can't I get on the highway? There's all these cops. Like, are they just doing like stings or something like that? To like, and I realized it was the highway that Donald Trump had just gotten off of, but there's all these people waving flags and waving to like every car that was driving by, and it was just a sea of stupid red hats, and yeah, it sucked.
Yeah,
but I didn't see Donald Trump, but he was in Burnsville.
You could have thrown the piranha at everybody.
I know, I wish.
So you told me before about your interest in taxidermy.
Yeah, I just think it'd be cool, like in a house, you know, like
what kind of pieces do you have right now? I mean, is it pretty expansive at this point, or
I'm
is this
just starting off like
recent inspiration?
Recent inspiration to get my house looking cool way. I have a taxidermy bat, piranha, a couple snakes, rattlesnake head, and I have a big scorpion coming. Now I'm gonna try to find a Bigfoot foot.
And where do people find this stuff? I mean, there's
Amazon and weird stores and stuff like that. I bought the bat in New Orleans.
Are there specific collectors out there that are kind of known as the source for a lot of this stuff amongst other collectors?
I don't know. I'm not like a.
You haven't gone that deep.
I haven't gone into the Reddit forums of taxidermy.
Well, it's organic though. Then how did you start getting into taxidermy?
I don't know. I just thought it was cool. I was like, you know, it just looked cool. It adds to the house. I don't know. It's just cool looking. I just like shit. You know, like I like weird stuff.
Yeah.
I've always been in like weird things and just stuff. So why not have a bat in my house? Yeah.
Did you what was the first one then that you got?
The bat, and I'm gonna try to get some skulls next.
Mm-hmm. Where did you find the bat?
New Orleans.
Okay.
Yeah, I just walking around like it's a cool store. Went in there, a bunch of bats on the wall.
But you being a world traveler. Yeah. Well, let's rewind a little bit. So you did get.
Yeah, I'd take photos. That's probably why I'm here.
Yeah.
not my taxidermy collection.
No, but it's ultimately, I think it's really interesting the kind of byproduct of the profession. And when did you get into photography? I mean, you said growing up in Burnsville. Yeah. I mean, a suburban kind of environment where the art's a part of your.
All the real punks come from the suburbs, obviously.
Right?
Duh. So, I good.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fix it. There's like a buzz.
We're doing Altoid.
Yeah, I'm trying to MacGyver this.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's the first one.
Yeah.
Fuck it. This is historic. One day you're gonna look back on this and be like, remember that Altoid?
Yeah, this will be the outtake.
Yeah. No, this is
remember the Altoids?
This is how it's supposed to go.
Shit. We're gonna roll with it.
Is it good?
It's good enough.
Just like my career.
Okay, sorry.
It's good enough.
So suburbs, punk rock.
I got into punk in like photography's always been cool to me, but like I took photography in high school and I got a 0% because I'd always like skip school. And so yeah, I just kept on doing. I started when I was in 2005, the first day out of high school.
Yeah,
it was the first.
So not
drinking.
Not till after high school though.
Yeah, not till after high school because I got really into like being able, like when I was able to have like, I turned 18. It was funny because I turned 18 and then I was able to get a credit card. And that's when I was able to buy a camera. And I was stupid. You don't think about it. It's like, I'm going to fucking...
But why a camera? I mean, were you kind of longing for a camera at that point?
Well, I'd always like seen like photos of punk shows and shit.
Yeah.
And I've been going to punk shows for so long. And I was like, I'd like to make photos that other punks would want to look at.
Yeah.
And, I started trying to. And I would just like... And it was something for me to do at a show. I was like, oh, cool. I want to like go and like, I didn't necessarily like all the bands all the time, but it was something for me to do. And like, sometimes I don't really like to be completely 100% social.
Yeah.
Like shows are real social that you're bumping into people the whole time. But like if I have my camera, I'm in my own little bubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I can kind of do my own thing during the show and also enjoy it. And have
Absolutely.
Fun.
It kind of gives you like a little bit of autonomy.
Yeah.
We were talking about Daniel Corrigan before, and he said a line that I've always thought of myself, and it was refreshing to kind of hear somebody else kind of have the same philosophy. I mean, ultimately, you're kind of like your access to this stuff, whatever your interest is a means of kind of like presenting yourself that you're actually supposed to be doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then the most rewarding part about it is that you kind of manifest that over time, because at a certain point people have just seen you around so much. Mm-hmm. Why else would you be there unless you were supposed to be?
Yeah.
But there's kind of that moment, maybe, do you remember like when you kind of really felt like, okay, this is actually what I enjoy doing and this is what propels me? I probably wouldn't leave my house if I didn't have a camera.
Yeah, I remember I was taking photos of punk shows, right? Because I used to book a lot of the punk shows in Minnesota. So I'd kind of use it as a tool to promote it to like other bands and stuff like that. I'd be like, hey, look at the scene here.
Yeah.
It's cool. And when I was shooting, it was a real niche market of punk,
Yeah, and at that time, where were you booking these shows?
It'd be like I'd be helping out with like Triple Rock shows, like, and it was like back when Triple Rock was a lot more accessible to like outside booking. And
yeah.
Like, I mean, not like they weren't at the end, but it was like
sure, there's a hole in the camera.
Yeah.
This guy seems cool. Let him put something together.
But it was also like, or maybe at the Red Sea. Remember that? And, Red Sea. When they used to do like punk shows before all that crazy shit happened there.
I don't know about the crazy shit, but yeah.
One of the owners kept their daughter locked in a cage.
What?
Yeah, and they went to jail and shit.
Inside the bar?
Like upstairs where they lived.
Oh, man.
And one of them got out of it, and they the one person took the fall for it.
Yeah.
And they went to, but they both knew about it, so the one guy still worked there.
Wow.
So everyone was like, fuck it, we're not doing any shows there no more. So that's why all of a sudden shows stopped there.
Yeah.
It's crazy, huh?
Oh,
but
man.
Obviously now it's under new name.
Talk about a different can of worms I wasn't expecting here.
Yeah.
Okay, but so you're doing the punk shows. How old are you at this point? What year are we talking about? What bands?
2005, I'd say. Well, probably 2004.
Yeah.
3, I was helping out with like shows like flyering and
stuff.
So it was like early punk core, like the Unseen, Casualties.
Yeah.
The real spiky show out punk stuff, with the studs and the spiky hair and mohawks and all that. And so I was helping out with that, and then all of a sudden I was like, I started taking photos, and social media was just kind of starting. Like MySpace had just kind of started.
Yeah.
And people were starting to use my photos there, and this and that, and I kept shooting.
Yeah.
And
who's using your photos? Some of the bands?
Just bands.
Yeah.
It was real small, real local.
Yeah, and you're like sending them to them. You're like, hey, I got some cool pictures.
It was like really small. But then I was working also. I I toured around with this band for a while in Europe and just doing photos. It was all just like real, just for fun. It was like there was
what band was that?
They're called Al and the Black Cats. It was like a street punk. It was like a psychobilly band.
Where are they from?
Detroit.
Okay.
And I had taken photos of them once before, and they loved not them, but like the street punk band that they were in. And he was like, "Hey man, I love your band. Like, I love your photos. You want to come to Europe with me, like with us?" And I was like, "Fuck it, yeah, of course."
Yeah.
So I I quit my job, bought a ticket, one-way ticket there, and I got on the plane, and I realized I didn't have any of their phone numbers or contacts or anything like that, and I just had pure faith alone that they were just gonna be there. And like when I was getting to Germany, I was so scared. When I landed, I was like, I'd never been out of the country. I'd never done anything. And I was like, I don't even have their fucking numbers. I have no laptop, no cell phone, no anything. I'm just going. I have my camera and 3 memory cards.
So you probably didn't tell your parents you were doing this.
Oh, no, they knew.
Yeah.
But I think they thought it was a little bit more structured. And got off the plane, and the lady I told my story to, and she was like, well, if they're not there, you can stay with me. Like, she wholeheartedly thought it was not going to happen.
Did you speak German then?
I spoke no other language at all.
Yeah.
And so I was like, fuck. All right, so I got off the plane. I was walking through customs, and the lady was like, they're not here. I'm so sorry. I was like about ready to cry. And I was like, that's like a grown man. I was like, oh, I'm going to cry. I was like, I think I was 21 at the time. And I turned the corner, and they were just standing there. I was like, oh, my God, thank you. So I lived with them for like 6 months in Europe in an RV, and we just toured around and had fucking crazy, unreal time. Like, it was like before, like anything.
It's like before social media.
Well, it was during social media, but it wasn't like as readily accessible. Like smartphones weren't really a thing.
But you're at least probably doing digital photography at that point.
We had one laptop.
Yeah,
and we didn't even care to go on it really. So I was just MIA for like 6-7 months with this band and going around Europe and hanging out and like getting into all types of fucking trouble. Like completely, it was just madness.
Yeah,
which I kind of miss that.
Yeah,
because I tour so much now and
it's not madness now.
No, it's really not.
It's too organized.
It's very. I love it, but
so the thrill was not knowing if they were going to be at the airport.
The thrill was everything. Like, once we tried to get into Croatia, and they still had the borders there, and we didn't have anything saying that like we're a band or we're allowed to go in.
Yeah,
so they thought we were going to sneak in there, make all this money.
Even if you are, I mean, what do they care?
They think you're going to make money in their country, and you're not allowed to come in. So we got denied at the border, and we had a show. They're like, well, and I was like, well, if we. One of the guys was like, if we don't have our gear, can we just come through? He's like, if you don't have your gear, you're not going to play a show, sure, come through. So we went, drove back. There's like a convenience store. You could eyesight of the border.
Yeah.
And we gave this lady 50 euros. Like, can we dump all of our gear here? And tomorrow we'll come back and get it, and we'll give you another 50 euros.
Yeah.
And she was, okay.
Yeah, search it all you want.
So we put all the gear in the shed.
Take any drugs you find.
No, we put all the gear in the shed, and then we drove right back to the border. Like, the border people were just looking at us. You could see us from like.
Yeah, you have no reason to do anything.
And but they were like, but we got over on them, and they were so pissed. So they like let us through.
Yeah.
And then the next day we went and played the show, came back, and then we had to go through the border again, and they stripped the whole thing. It was like,
oh,
we
really?
Were there for hours. Yeah. They pulled everything out there, examining it, because they're like, fuck. They're like, fuck you. We know you got over on us. Well, we're gonna get you. So we had nothing, but still, it was one of those things that we drove right back to the convenience mart, opened up the thing, and the lady wasn't there, and we just took all the gear back, and we just left.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we went right back.
And so that was 6 months.
Yeah,
and you come back and you come back to town.
No job, and had to work. I worked at Best Buy. And
what did you do at Best Buy?
I was the door greeter.
Oh yeah,
I was a high buy.
Nice. Give me a couple bars. Pretend I'm walking into Best Buy right now.
Welcome to Best Buy. Have a good day.
That's
Welcome
it.
to Best Buy. Have a good day.
So obviously, that's kind of doldrums, and you're like, what do I do next?
Well,
are you trying to top that? Or are you trying
it's a pivotal part of the story,
right?
The Best Buy part.
Yeah.
So, it was right when iPads came out.
Sure.
And we got iPads given to us like used in the store and shit. And we got these iPads, and I would also help in the warehouse, like doing shit.
So you're actually learning how to, okay, this is the new thing, and this maybe will inform what I do.
That's exactly it. My friend who was working in the warehouse, he's a lot older than me, and he was like, I do photography. I was like, cool, I do too. And he showed me his photos, and they're real standard, like headshots and wedding photos and like his dogs and stuff. And then I showed him mine, and he freaked out. He's like, these are incredible. And I was like, really? He was like, because I've been shooting for years now, you know? And I was like, and I hadn't shown anybody. Like, the general public, besides the punk scene in that niche market, knew about my photos. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, these are incredible, dude. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, have you had a show? Do you have a book? Why? Like, what are you doing? Like, looking back on it, the photos, all the photos aren't that great, but it was like, at the time, like, they're pretty good.
And they're mostly of that band?
No, it was all street punk and from years of, like, this I've been shooting for maybe 5 years, you know?
Right.
And, it was just a culmination of all my photos from 5 years of shooting. Yeah. And he was like, you gotta do something. I was like, well, what do I do? He's like, do a gallery. I was like, well, how do I do that? And he was like, print out the photos, like, find a place I'll do it. And I was like, well, how do I do that? And he was like, make a book. And I was like, how do I do that? I was like, so I did it. I did self-publish it, printed out like 300 of my photos. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, I gotta do something about it now, because I have all these photos and I have these books that I sunk all this money into. And I talked to the guys who do Profane Existence from here, the crust punk label. Yeah. He also does Brickmania.
Right.
Yep. And so I asked him, I said, can I use your space to do a DIY photo gallery? Mm. And this is 2012. Mm-hmm. And so I guess from 2005 to 2012, nobody had seen my photos.
Yeah.
And
but you must have had just thousands.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody had seen them. And except for some of the bands and like a few little, maybe like 80 people, you know, that I thought were all my, like the 80 to 100 people that were my world, you know?
Yeah, the people you're close to.
Yeah, and like, I posted on my fucking social media or whatever.
And at that point, like, social media
it didn't really mean anything.
It meant something, but it definitely was starting to catch traction, I feel.
Yeah, because it was like kind of the birth of when MySpace had died, Facebook kind of kicked in. And that's when my shit started to really take off, was when that was a thing.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's around the time I probably got hip to your stuff and trying to really kind of like, I think at that point for me, it's like, well, I think all that stuff is cool, but it's not necessarily my scene, but I love the kind of like rawness and ability to kind of feel like I'm actually there.
Yeah,
and that maybe is part of your approach, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was my life, and I didn't really like look at it like I'm trying to bring people into this world. It was like, this is my existence. This is everything that means something to me was punk and the scene and everything. It was like my home. And
it's kind of like I just always think of it as like an ephemeral moment, and a lot of these things come together. I mean, we can dig into all this time period, and you have gone through so much in so little time. But I think what I get impressed about is just the real natural progression of it.
Yeah, it's like that's. I mean, I think longevity is. I'd rather have had such a build-up than have just a quick flash in the pan and then you're done.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about it. By the way, what did you think of the Spring Street over there?
Oh, it was great.
The biscuits and gravy?
Biscuits and gravy, good.
They make
Give me a little endorsement. You know,
they got
mildly famous now. Give me an endorsement.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I got to get these $50 back somehow.
I want a Bloody Mary every day. Come on.
No, but we were talking about this kind of fleeting, obviously fame. What I get really interested in is fame and the fleetingness nature of pop culture and whatnot. And you really kind of pinpointed, I would say unintentionally, a lot of things throughout your career in the work you do, and it has brought you to a point which we'll talk about, of just crazy stratospheric insanity to the point where you start becoming a taxidermist collector. But I think what's really, but the transition of the time period from when you started, you've really rode this wave effectively.
Yeah, I mean
that's the art of what you do.
That's been the thing. Was I was like, when I did that gallery, and I ended up doing it by myself. Everything, I hung everything by. I got a few friends help out, and 800 people showed up. Wow. You know, it was the book sold out in 30 minutes. Like like I'd say I printed 300 prints, and I sold probably 200 of them. You know,
what was that book? Did it have a
it's
name?
called Pay Attention.
Pay Attention.
And I really want to redo it and make it good.
So there might be a reissue
I
someday.
Hope so. One day. It'll look different because I sent my photo. I sent it to my photography icon, Edward Culver, who did like the old 80s like all the black flag photos, everything, like the guy who inspired me. And I said, like, will you review my book? You don't need to do anything publicly. Will you just look at it?
Yeah.
And tell me personally what you thought of it. And he said the photos are good, but the layout sucks. Everything sucks about the book. Like, I wouldn't put this out in a million years. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, well, what do you think of the photos? He's like, they were okay, but the layout sucks so much that I didn't give a shit. And I was like, oh, well, but.
Harsh toke.
But him and I became friends later on in the years.
Sure.
And I met him.
Yeah.
And me and him are pretty cool now. But he said he'll never say anything. You don't learn from nice things. You learn from the negative.
Exactly.
You know, like like he could have been like, "Oh, that's cool," and I would never would have heard any. I never would have learned about layout. I never would have learned about what will catch someone's eye, what using negative space, doing that. So he actually helped me out, being like, "You put, 10 photos on a page, it looks fucking stupid." You know, like if you know.
Maybe it's like information overkill when it's a lot of imagery.
Yeah, because if it's 8 photos on a page, you're not looking at every. You're like,
yeah,
but
I would say. In your defense, that is kind of the nature of your work and your ability to kind of like encompass and sort of snare together the chaos of an event is what is really cool, and being able to kind of communicate that in pages, I think, is effective. I don't remember that book. I think I remember that happening. Where was that? The opening?
It was at the Brickmania warehouse.
Okay,
and I remember. My first brush with the rap world was when I worked at Best Buy, and I just got the book. It was in my car, and I was a door greeter, and Slug from Atmosphere would always come in to this Best Buy, and I had never said anything to him because I had nothing that, why would I fucking say something to somebody? He's shopping for Blu-rays. Who, I don't need to be like.
What kind of Blu-rays did Slug buy?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't tell you.
We'll have to maybe.
I remember once he stayed in the store very long, and they asked him to leave because he didn't realize it wasn't like a bad thing. He just didn't realize what time. He was like, "Oh, I gotta go."
He was loitering.
Not loitering. He bought shit. He was just shopping.
But they asked him. They said, "Oh, you got."
It was kind of like a hustle.
Wrap it up, guys.
Not like that, but it was like he was definitely one of the last people there.
I feel like you should be able to stay somewhere as long as you want until you can.
You were able to, but it was like one of those things. It was like.
Were you about to close? Or?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But it was like one of those things where there was like 3 other. I'm not gonna try to bust them out, but
right.
But he shot there.
So Slug's showing up,
and I had my flyers printed for the gallery. I had the book in my car, and I was like, "Fuck it." I literally left my post, which it doesn't mean shit.
Right.
Someone can. Who cares?
Yeah.
Ran out to my car, got the book, got the flyer. Put the flyer in the book, and he was walking right to walk out, and I was like, ran up to him, like, "Hey, you don't know me. I do these photos of punk and shit. Here's my book. Will you look at it? And like, you can keep it.
Yeah.
And there's a flyer for the show in the book
for sure.
And at the time,
he is you before that, so of course he's into it.
But he sat down right there. He was like, "Hey, can I sit here and look at it?"
Yeah.
Like, yes, absolutely.
There you go.
Can. And he looked through. He's like, "This is really cool." And I was like, "Well, here's the show flyer." And then he was like, "I might be able to make it. I might not be able to." But I was like,
"Yeah,
cool." Anyways, and I didn't have a smartphone at the time, and I had my flip phone. And my friend, like an hour later, runs up to me and goes, "Adam, Atmosphere just tweeted about you."
Oh, really?
And all this shit. And he like wrote about the book and the show, and he promoted it and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. And it was like my first crossover for punk and rap and shit. And then I realized a lot of the people in Minnesota that rap are also punk and the whole fucking thing.
Okay, I absolutely agree. And having been around the world now a lot and being into punk and very deep in the hip hop scene right now, is that a unique thing to Minneapolis or to Twin Cities?
You find out that a lot of these rappers, because
I've always thought it was.
Yeah, well,
maybe I'm giving Twin Cities too much props, but
we just have Minnesota is we're very accepting of a lot of things, and we've always been able to cross the genres of Like if Dillinger 4 and POS had a show together, I wouldn't bat an eye, you know.
Absolutely.
But that was early on, like Minnesota. But then LA started to do that, where it'd be like extreme hardcore bands would play with rappers, and it was nobody started to bat. I was like, okay, and that's when I started starting to go into this world of, okay, there's these punk dudes who are rappers.
Yeah.
And they really are like punk dudes, like who rap. And then they started getting kind of underground famous, and then now it's like there's a really cool scene going on that's starting up. And like one of the groups that I work for that's really big now, Suicide Boys. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's this band here called Brain Tumors, where Drew. I know you remember that band, Brain Tumors.
Yeah.
Drew Ailes wrote for. They're like a real raw punk band, but the Suicide Boys one of them used to be the drummer in a punk band that played with Brain Tumors and toured. They knew it. They have they still have a Brain Tumors shirt. So I was like, wait a second. There's another world going on right now where rap and punk is crossing over, and I started to kind of dive into that, and that's when my whole life changed. Was when I reached out to the rap world, where I would do early photos for all these new famous people now. Yeah. People who are so like Travis Scott, who's probably arguably one of the biggest celebrities in the world, or rapper, whatever. His first time he came here was the Fine Line, and it was the craziest show I'd ever been to in my whole entire life. It was like seeing the Bad Brains.
Sure.
Like he was diving off of the Fine Line balcony. Mm-hmm. He broke tables, threw them in the audience. He was head walking on people. Like people are literally jumping off the rafters and crawling on the rafters.
Yeah.
To get to the stage with it. Like I'm not shitting you. It was it was a punk show to a T. Most chaotic it was like seeing Modern Life is War's first time with like crazy shit. And I was like, there's something so special going on in the rap world right now that needs to be looked into.
Were you shooting that show?
Yeah, it was, and it was arguably just it was insane. It was really, I was like, that show changed my whole perspective of what was really going on. Like, it was where the youth went. It was like punk was kind of, not gonna like talk shit, but punk's kind of dead in a little bit of a way. Like, it's kind of
possibly
dead.
Possibly.
The age.
We can discuss that.
The age.
We
gap,
should. Yeah.
The age. The people who go in a lot of punk shows aren't getting younger.
A little bit of what is called punk, I think, is a kind of oh man, I think it's a folk. It's folklore now, kind of. It's kind of like it's continuation. It's storytelling. It's still a movement. People are still doing it, but I think you're right, and I think ultimately it's because it's. I hate to say it because I don't know what it's like to be a rapper or in a hip hop group, but I'm assuming it's a lot easier than hauling around a lot of guitars and drums and amps and all this shit. Cover a lot more ground as an artist, as a performer, being able to travel with the DAT tape and the microphone. I mean, you know what I mean? So, like, the energy is going to be the same. It's going to be just as grassroots, but it's easier to do. At the same time, there's more people doing it. So who becomes the icon or person on top is completely subjective. But what you're saying is the guitars kind of started to disappear maybe in the terms of punk, but the energy of punk was being created on hip-hop stages.
Exactly. Yep. The youth went there, and the youth, like, they never, like, you can't be like, well, the Wall of Death was from fucking thrash metal, but whatever. They're like, we don't fucking care.
Do you find yourself getting in that argument a lot?
No, I don't. But I just think you'll be like, wow. there'll be rappers on stage who kind of like learn, like, oh, Wall of Death. They're like, do a wall, they're like, split the crowd.
Okay,
then right when the beat drops, you run at each other and you pit, and then you start running in a circle. They'll explain to people what circle pits are. They're like, these kids are 14 to 16-year-old kids are like, I don't know what a circle pit is. Right. But here it is, and they're learning what it like. It's just like, obviously it's a punk thing, and it's like but it's we're just putting labels on it though.
It's like, we're putting labels on. It's an energy thing.
Yeah, it's an energy. It's the energy of what we consider punk is here now in rap.
Yeah, and whatever the case, I mean, it can be argued till the end of the day, end of the time. You followed that thread, and now what you do. And maybe we should assume people, hopefully listening to this, think that maybe aren't as familiar with the current hip hop scene and Post Malone. Yeah. And when you talk to me, when I asked you about doing this, you're like, well, yeah, I don't want to make it all about Post Malone. I'm not super into, I don't know who Post Malone is. And you probably think I'm ridiculous for even trying to talk to you about Post, but maybe that gives me a little credibility in terms of my appreciation for what you do.
Thank you.
But I think it's important to kind of, I think it's important to put into a context. I mean, you've kind of stumbled upon a really creative energy that is larger than anything you could have imagined when you first started traveling with punk bands and stuff, right?
Well, I mean, and
it's very punk rock, I would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of tapped into this like when the whole SoundCloud rapper, like a lot of shit that people make fun of with the face tattoos and blah blah blah, but like that whole shit when it was going on, like Lil Peep and all that stuff. 'Cause that's where I got really well known, was through my Lil Peep photos.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I saw him, it was Lil Peep, it was Zabalba, it was Trash Talk, it was all these punk bands and rappers, and it was in LA, and it was like nobody gave a shit what genre it was. It was just this crazy festival, and I was like, there's something here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started diving into that, and then the Lil Peep photos really took off, and it was just this crazy underground vibe of shit that was happening. It was like really being in a new scene.
Yeah.
Like being in a new scene where it wasn't like me being in a new place. It was like something new was being born right in front of my face.
And something new is being born, but also the means of kind of distributing the your ability to kind of report it is new
it was
too.
Like that, but it was like I was on the front line of literally something new.
Yeah.
Like not like I'm trying to like people should kind of like scoff at it, like being like, oh, just SoundCloud rap, but like really the scene and the energy of that whole movement was you could feel it in the room. It was just like, this is something so brand new and different, and it might be a flash, and this like might be done in a year, but it's right now. There's
you're not imagining it.
No, it was real. It was
you have the proof.
You could feel that there was like a whole. It was like it was like going to like CBGB's or some fucking whatever, some new thing, like something new was happening, and I was like, wow, I'm really here at the perfect time where this is new, and this is so wild, you know. It's like it's and I kind of went with a lot of those artists, and I did a lot of those photos, and then unfortunately Lil Peep passed away very untimely, and my photos of him became kind of the ones that people use.
They're iconic.
I guess a lot of people say they're iconic, and they've been all over and this and that. And then Post Malone got one of my photos of Lil Peep tattooed on him.
Yeah.
And when I was,
and that's before you met him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had shot him a few times, you know, but not like in any capacity of meeting him or him doing shit. But so I was gonna go to LA to shoot Lil Peep again because I was gonna be a lot like his DJ and other people can attest to this. Like I was going to be his personal photographer if he hadn't passed away.
Right.
So I was going to go to this festival where he was going to play, and Post Malone was going to be the headliner that day. And there was like 2 stages, and he was kind of, you know, whatever, just on it. And the Lil Peep set turned into a Lil Peep tribute. So I went and we did the tribute, and then Post Malone's one of his creative managers or director, whatever, is a big fan of Lil Peep, and he said, hey, come shoot Post Malone.
Yeah.
And I went, I was like, sure, hell yeah. And so I went and I got this little pass, because you had to get the festival, each artist has their own pass, and you're only allowed to shoot during that artist.
Sure.
So I had to go find Post Malone's road manager. I got the pass from him, and I waited throughout the day, and Post Malone shows up, and he had a Black Flag shirt on.
Oh, nice.
And and I started talking to him about like punk music, and I was like, oh, he actually knows punk bands, and like not like saying like not trying to talk down to him, but like sometimes you don't expect.
Yeah, you just don't. And
then he knows punk music. He knows country. He knows hardcore. He knows like metal.
That shit you were telling me about Nirvana, and when he got to meet,
he has countless Nirvana tattoos. Yeah, and, like, he knows music, and I was like, so we just started talking. We got along, and eventually I was like, hey, I'm the guy who I did that tattoo.
Yeah.
Like the photo of Lil Peep. And he's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then we just, it was like kind of organic. And I did photos from that festival. and the photo that they use, like I sent them in like almost instantly, and they loved them, the photos, and then I knew that he was going to be back on New Year's, and I knew he was going to be back during the Super Bowl in Minnesota.
Oh, sure.
So I did the New Year's show with him, and we hung out and had fun. And he came.
Where was New Year's?
The Armory, not the Armory, Convention Center.
Oh, it was here
Sonoda.
though. Yeah,
in Minnesota.
Cool.
And then he came back for the Super Bowl, and I did photos from him again, and we hung out and we got along so well. And then they kept on using my photos, and then his manager they started planning a tour, and I was like, they asked if I was like, can I be the photographer? And they're like, well, we've never had a photographer. And I was like, well, can I be the photographer?
Yeah.
And he was like, let me get back to you. Then maybe a week goes by, and he calls me. He's like, hey, we want you to be the photographer.
Nice.
So I got on the tour.
And who's Post manager then?
There's a few people.
Okay.
But my go-to guy, who's kind of my manager now, is Bobby Greenleaf.
Okay.
He's kind of like the creative director.
Yeah.
I'm like not but he found me, and he helps with like this, but like everything. No,
props to him for sure. I mean, I think, it
all comes down to like what Post likes, but like he was the one who was like showing it, like, hey, you might like these photos by this guy.
I mean, it's interesting to think about the need to have a photographer in this day and age. Everybody's got a phone. I mean, it's not like, well, what do you need a photographer for? But you're ultimately kind of like the I feel like you kind of operate as the conscious of somebody like Post. When you're on the road with them, you're capturing all the moments of them sharing their art and being a presence and being a celebrity, being an icon in their genre or their field or whatever they do that people appreciate them for. So the level of trust must be the greatest relationship or one of the most important relationships in your life so far.
Exactly. Some people are like, how come you don't do certain things? Like, because I would never want to lose the trust of my friend. Like,
and what are they asking you to do?
I mean, just like, film backstage, do more of this, post more of this.
Get a picture of him in the toilet.
No, exactly. It's like they want like.
But ultimately, he has a vision for how he wants people to see him.
Well, it's not. He hasn't really even gave me that narrative of what he wants, but it's just like me and him. I get it.
But maybe
I get like. That's where I think I've gotten pretty far in my life. We've kind of glossed over a whole lot of my career, but it's like,
well, we can go back.
Yeah, but I'm able to create different styles per artist, like, but it's also my style. Like, I'm able to use my subtlety to be able to like, oh, you don't want it to be like I can make it like that.
Yeah, and I mean, let's flesh that out. I mean,
I'd rather not have to be asked to tone it down or turn it up. I'd rather be able to know the vision already before it comes out. You know what I'm saying? Like, like figure it out.
Well, and that's maybe where your personability skills come in. So, like, how did that hone itself over time? Like, can you think of stories or highlights early on that kind of made you this kind of like personable character? And what is really driving your interest or purpose? Are you trying to capture some reality? Are you trying to show
before Post Malone? Because obviously a lot of my life revolves around Post Malone now. A lot of people know me through Post Malone, and he's one of the biggest people in the world. But before that, I worked with like A$AP Ferg, who's also a big rapper, and he really taught me taught me work ethic. It's like, get it done now, get it done fast, get it done right, and he like made it into be like, you're not on the playground anymore. You're really in the world. Like, get it done right. This and that, and but also like, like being like, it just comes down to like, I used to like really care about the punk scene, and like I always wanted to make shit and make everybody like make cool photos for my friends and shit like that, and make it be something interesting for people,
Yeah, it's like telling the story of the reality that is the reason you are excited about it or inspired by it.
I always wanted to create photos that people would be able to look at and create a story behind, like, oh, this photo, what's going on in this photo? It's like, obviously the story, the truth of it is probably really boring, but I'd rather create a fucking crazy story in someone's head where it doesn't have to have a name backing the photo.
Right.
It could just be some random shit or a random band. Or
Yeah.
whatever, and then that photo lives on, you know.
Well, and you know, we talk about the Post Malone Association a lot because maybe that's right now what you're most known for. But ultimately, it's all this stuff that informed that work that you're doing now that makes it as good as it is. You know, one thing I wanted to make sure to talk about, and I don't know if you were there, but when there was the emergency plane landing.
Oh man,
were you on that?
No,
you weren't on the plane.
No.
Okay,
it's like I drew the short straw, and I had to take the commercial flight from America to because technically, you know, if I don't make it, right, let's just say something happens to the flight. Not like I die or something.
You're kind of like the last guy to get like.
Yeah, if the sound guys aren't there, or the guitar, whoever isn't there, the show is fucked. You know, so you know, I take that with, you know, like, okay, you can't be.
That keeps you level.
Yeah,
that keeps you level.
Like, you know, sometimes like if the photographer doesn't show up, the show goes on.
Yeah.
You know, so. You know, like not unfortunate, but like I wasn't with them when that was going on.
Yeah.
I was on a plane and we got word about what was going on, and it was so crazy. I was so scared for all my friends and shit. Like,
I can't imagine.
I mean,
how many people were on the plane?
14.
Yeah.
So you think about it, like, everyone's like, oh, Post Malone was like, you know, for me, I was like, oh shit, Willie's on the plane, Blair,
your friends,
you know, Dre, all those people, like Jay, you know, Pat. Oh my God, you know, and Austin Post. And I was like,
yeah, of course.
It was like, it wasn't just like, you know, obviously people were watching. Oh my God, Post Malone. It's like you forget that there's 13 other people.
Well, but I'm sure your shit was blowing up too because people I assumed honestly, you were on the.
I bought the Wi-Fi, and the only person I could text was my one friend Abe, and I was like, this is my parents' phone number. Call my mom or my dad and let them know that I'm on this commercial flight.
Yeah.
My phone's not gonna work. Like just do it.
Yeah.
And he called him. He's like, Adam's okay.
Fine.
Blah blah. But still, like
I thought of that,
there, and I didn't know what was going on. Like like the way they were making it out. Like even because I heard from the pilot was talking about it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this plane is this or that in the air, and it was so scary. Like you land and
very scary.
Yeah, it was just.
Well,
but also that's like what's really shitty about you know, the culture of like people watch, like people are watching. They were literally live streaming, hoping that the plane would crash.
No,
and that's crazy.
Wow.
You know, it's like it wasn't like a.
Why would they hope that the plane is crashing?
Because people are morbid with celebrity.
Well, that being said, so what I thought of when I heard the news, number one, of course, I thought, well, I hope everybody's safe. But then I thought, I really hope Adam got some pictures of what was going on while that happened.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but it's like one of those things where it's like
that would be like the photos of your life.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, like I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I would have done if I was on the plane.
Like if you were on the plane, likely. So when you're on a plane with them, is your camera usually out?
I'm with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you always have your camera. You brought it to lunch today.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is he going to take pictures of his biscuits and gravy over here? No, but you know what I mean. So what would have your instinct told you to make sure you're safe or to start taking pictures?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Really
I know.
It's. I'm not on. I've never been faced with a life or death moment like that.
I
where
know.
It's like, that I've known about. You know, I'm like.
Yeah.
I've never had like. You know, like I've had my camera on me and someone put a gun to my head and I'm like, I'm gonna take a photo of you. You know, it's like I don't know what I would have done.
Well, I think a lot of your work has to do with the chaos. So in my mind, knowing you,
in my mind, I probably would have filmed it.
Yeah, you would have been like, I got 2 minutes to. You take 10 pictures and.
But for me, I would have been like, fuck. I wouldn't try to get my will out. Be like.
I need
to will all my photos to for real, like 'cause my parents wouldn't know what the fuck to do.
Right, no.
I'd be like, I need someone to take on my 20 hard drives and not let them to get lost to the fucking dust of the.
Oh, I'm glad we didn't. You know? I'm glad we didn't have to see it happen.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right.
Thanks for listening to The Prize. I hope you're enjoying this interview with Adam DeGross. This is a little break in the action to tell you that this is where you would find yourself with the opportunity to sponsor The Prize. Maybe give a shout out to your business, local or otherwise, to keep these great episodes of The Prize coming. And more great interviews like this one with Adam DeGross. The music you're hearing right now is the guitarist Jim Clark, performing with me, Danny Sigelman, playing the drums. I hope you're enjoying the show, and I hope you stay tuned for more with Adam DeGross. In the meantime, do follow me on social media. You can find me on Instagram at Paper Sleeves. Also on Twitter at Paper_Sleeves. I don't know who has Paper Sleeves on Twitter. Maybe some old bat from Wisconsin. Hope you enjoy the second half of this awesome interview with Adam DeGross. I know I did. Thanks for listening.
Okay, I'll wake up at 2 p.m., get up, go catering, get food, check out the venue, go edit for maybe 2-3 hours. He'll be up, then the show starts again, you know? That's it.
Yeah, and what time is the show usually?
Actually, it
or
doesn't
the event, the venue?
No, it's usually like he'll go on at like 9:30.
Yeah.
You know?
And so you're at a certain... What's like your favorite... What's your favorite spots to shoot from?
Shoot from?
Yeah, like where do you like to be?
The pit. Usually. I like to shoot from the pit and stuff like that. Or I'll go on like behind the stage. But like the stage that we have now is so open that it's like you can't be on stage. So it's like
the production.
Yeah. It's like literally like a island. So
and because I've never been to a Post Malone show. Like, so it's essentially it's just him, right?
Yeah, it's just him.
Does he have a
stage.
DJ?
Nope.
And musically, so where's the music coming from?
Just from the back, like playback monitors, engineers, and shit like that from the back, and stuff like that. It's like a real big, production,
Yeah, and being a part of the being a part of the crew and seeing everything. Have you learned anything that you've kind of taken on as a new interest, as in terms of like being a part of the production of it or the presentation of it?
I'm very.
Or do you kind of stay in your lane?
I'm very conscious of the fact that I'm, the eyes of the production. You got to make it's a huge show.
Yeah.
And people want to see the show. No matter what. Like, okay, we did this huge, massive show in Europe, and people in Iowa aren't going to be able to see it just because we're in Europe, it's like it's not coming to Iowa, so I want them to be able to feel like they're there, so it's like, there's Post Malone on stage, but also getting the whole atmosphere of the show is very important,
And I think a lot of that comes across in the even just the still photos.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, and I mean, how much are you ever doing? Did you ever do a video? Hold on a sec. Let me try to fix this.
Antarctica, there's space stations down there. Pyramids, they're built from the top. It's exactly due north. How did that happen? They had to start at the top. Bigfoot's real. 100%.
If it's mine or yours. Oh, there we go.
Well, no, we're talking here. Bigfoot's real. Bigfoot's real. Everybody, Bigfoot's real. Think about it. It's pretty noticeable that Bigfoot's real.
Hello. Hey.
Aliens only want to talk to the president because why would they want to talk to losers like us?
Hello. Okay. No, we got it. No, it's good. I mean, how much? When you're really immersed in this show, as long as you've been now, it's been a couple years.
1 year.
1 year.
Exactly.
1 year to what? When did you start?
Last week, 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
the first day Beer Bongs and Bentleys came out, which is his big album.
Yeah.
Is my first day.
And when you in within that time, how many shows do you think it's been? 100?
100.
More than 100?
Probably 100 on the low end.
Mm-hmm. And those range from what number to how many people? Like, I mean, you mentioned in Brazil.
I've seen, from 6,000 early on. That was like early when I first started. 6,000 to 10,000 to like I'd say maybe 10,000 is like the lowest. I don't have the official numbers.
Right.
But then in Brazil, 130,000 people.
Yeah.
And then, but like on average, we do like 20,000 people venues. But now we're about to do stadiums. I think hopefully, I don't know, but
And I mean, even though you're in a professional capacity, there's an emotional element to it because this is your friend, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I cried when I was on stage during his song "Congratulations." When we were in Brazil, it was the exact 1 year anniversary of when I started. Yeah. And I looked out, and there's 130,000 people, and he was giving the speech about living your dream every day, and I was like, wow, like it's amazing. And I just started I was tearing up, and it was just a very emotional moment where it's like, thinking 13 years ago, would I be here making my actual living off of photography with the biggest celebrity, like arguably one of the biggest celebrities of our modern time,
right?
You know what I'm saying? It's like everything came to exactly where I needed to be. It was like, that doesn't happen often. It's like it was a dream come true. Really looking out and being like, I'm a part of this. And
they're singing along to the music, and
it was just like, I very much appreciate him as like my friend and shit. But it was like one of those things where it was like, for me, it was like a culmination of everything that I've worked for 10 plus years. It was like, and it was just very exciting, and it was a very nice feeling to be like, wow, I'm part of this machine, not machine, but like I call it a machine because it's like
part of it
runs like a fucking machine. But it's like, I'm part of this fucking world. I'm part of this Post Malone empire, and I'm here because of my talent, and it was so rewarding to me.
Well, you're part of the dream.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I really
Post Malone dream machine.
But it was just like, it's part of, like, I'm from Minnesota. I've never not lived here.
Yeah.
And like, I'm working with the biggest celebrity in the world, probably one of the top 3 celebrities in the world, period. Like, nobody can argue that.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying. But it's like coming from, Burnsville to South Minneapolis to, in the gutters of fucking Punk to the Medusa to the Rat Hole, the Triple Rock to First Ave to Station 4 and all the venues and everything from, start to finish. And I've been like, and now I'm at the fucking front of the, front stage of the world's looking at my photos, it's crazy,
It's great. It's amazing. Yeah, it's really, really fucking cool. I mean, I was stoked as fuck when I saw one of your pictures on the
PBR
PBR can. When was that? That was like a couple
of years ago.
Yeah.
That's when the momentum started to really get going.
Yeah.
Like wow, this is something people are noticing what I'm doing, and
I
mean, obviously, it turned off a lot of people from like the punk world. Were like, this is fucking stupid, but like
whatever.
A lot of the punks were cool with it. But it was still like one of those things. It was like, 5 million of them were made, and like that's 5 million physical copies of your photos were out there.
How many copies of the can do your parents have?
Oh, my parents,
or you too?
I have a 6-pack of the cans.
Yeah,
I have one big 24-ounce, and then I have one of the boxes.
Yeah,
and they're all framed. Like I have them like in like a case.
Are they? Did you empty them?
No.
Yeah, they're still
all full up.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I got them all. It's crazy.
Yeah,
really
no,
crazy,
that's awesome. That's so good. No, absolutely, and it's super fucking punk. And you one thing I keep noticing is you kind of mention Post Malone as a celebrity art. Mm-hmm. I kind of think of him as a celebrity artist. He's an artist of celebrity, right? And I
mean, his music is just so big, though. But it's like he is a celebrity.
Yeah.
But he's also an artist. But his music is just so.
But I think he's turned the art of celebrity into his medium, okay, and via the means of your photos, essentially, right?
But
No. Just let me support me here. Right. Take a compliment. Come on.
Go for it.
And you did that essentially the same way with the can, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a very pop art, Andy Warhol-y kind of thing. And you're in the center of that now in elevating the celebrity of Post Malone to sustain his art, right?
Sure. Because people want to see him. They want
that's
that.
Tight. That's tight. Come on, take it.
It's true. Because, like, I'm the only person involved with his creative team. It's not like involved, but like, that was a weird way to put it, but like most artists of that caliber have maybe 3 or 4, even 5 photographers or video people I do it all just for him. You know, it's like.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a lot of my shit's. It's just a wild world.
No, I mean people are appreciating your work, not just because through Post.
Yep.
But
I've gained a lot of fans, and then like a lot of my photos now. I'll post a punk photo, and all the Post Malone fans will be like, "What the? This is crazy!" And then all the people will still like my shit.
Well, and that's important to kind of. That's an important thing to maybe to transition into here is to kind of talk about maybe your interests and passions in photography outside of what you're really going to be known for right now, and how do you see that manifesting itself?
Like, do you mean like what? How do I?
It could be anything. I mean, it could be you deciding to take some time off and photograph flowers. I don't know.
I've really never found interest in photography outside of people.
But what about taxidermy?
Taxidermy, maybe.
Could you see yourself doing a book on taxidermy?
No, because someone else made it. It's their own. That's their art.
Yeah, but there's plenty of music people too.
Yeah, but it's like people move in a certain. It's a different. There's not going to be another moment like that because that's the human nature. It's people move around, they do their thing, and that's the moment in time. But like, it's like someone taking photos of a statue and like saying it's their photo. It's like no, it's not. It's someone else's fucking artwork.
Well.
Where it's like I don't think that's art.
It's still a moment in time that's captured.
Yeah, but it's like if someone went and took photos of someone's like a church or something or something that someone made.
Yeah.
Like that's already their art. It's like taking photos of a drawing.
Yeah.
It's like and saying that that's just some fucking world renowned photo. It's like it's not. It's a photo of someone else's.
So
artwork,
you're a real people person.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's.
Were you always like that? Were your parents kind of people?
No, they weren't. I was an only child, and I spent a lot of time by myself.
Yeah,
and I kind of created my own little world.
Yeah, the means to kind of connecting with people through your work.
Yeah, it's like I mean, even I'm looking
that's
at your
legit.
wall. I'm looking at your wall.
Yeah,
person, people.
Yeah.
people. I'm just saying like that. A drawing, right? That was like all the shit on your wall. Like we're looking at the pictures. It's all people. It's like people like. It's like, but you're a painter, and let's say I were to take a picture of your painting and got well known off of that. Mm-hmm. That's whack.
Do it.
No.
By the way, is Post Malone interested in any original paintings?
Sure it would be. Yes, we're really drunk now. Let's keep going.
But as far as your work, I mean, what I'm trying to pinpoint you on a little bit is maybe kind of owning your work a little more for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I do. I mean, I do. It's just hard to
like. I would love.
Wrap my head around.
I would love to see a solo show of work that
it's gonna happen.
That isn't post-centric, you know what I'm saying?
No, nothing that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
If I do a show, there may be 2 photos of Post Malone, the rest will be my this or that. And if I were to ever do a gallery of certain types of photos, I wouldn't have my name associated. I would have no name associated with it.
Yeah.
It would be you'd be like, wow, this is just some crazy photos.
Yeah.
And nobody would ever know it was me.
But that's kind of interesting because I think that's kind of part of the program. You know, like you mentioned before, seeing your work in Times Square, and none of those people necessarily knew who you were. But
exactly.
But what's that feeling like? Do you feel
it's crazy?
It's like a personal empowerment, but it's only yours. You can't necessarily share it with anybody.
Yeah, because I mean, I've been standing looking. Really, I've had, I think 4 or 5 actual photos of mine in Times Square as billboards.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And at one time there was 3 of my photos in Times Square at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was walking around Times Square and I was like, in my head I was like, that's my photo. And I saw another huge banner. That's my photo. And I saw a billboard. That's my photo.
Those are Post Malone photos?
Post Malone and Lil Peep.
Yeah.
But so I saw it and I was like, and then I saw a huge mural on a wall of my Lil Peep photo, like a one of those Biggie murals, of Lil Peep. And I was like, people were walking by me and they were taking photos of it and this, that, and nobody knew that it was me who took that photo. And I'm not saying like the photo is the important part because obviously it's not there because of me. It's there because of the artist, but it's just very crazy to be like the fact that my photos are being seen like really New York, like the center of the universe. Millions of people are seeing my photos a day, and it doesn't compute in my head.
Yeah, but that's the empowering thing is you kind of get to appreciate people appreciating your work without you necessarily being the guy that's like, hey, that's my photo.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stand on a soapbox and be like, listen here, everybody, this is my photo, right? Yeah. But it's cool that my photos are in the lexicon of like the fucking universe, right? It's just like people are just like they don't know it's me, and it's cool. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like I don't need the fucking pat on the back every time, but it's like if people likes. Look like, oh, that's cool.
You get enough likes. Yeah, how many likes are you getting since we've been sitting here? Since we had since you had your biscuits and gravy, you get a bunch of likes in the last half hour here. But I mean, you know, I say that with some jest because I think
30,000 by now.
Right, I think that's what we're talking about though. It's kind of the art of fame that somebody like Post Malone has been able to figure out, and I think you're kind of figuring it out. I think you're kind of making it up and creating it.
Well, people, I mean, if you really think about it, social media is a new frontier.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, I mean, last year I made 6 figures doing photos.
Yeah,
and it's like doing fucking photography. It's crazy, you know. It's like, but it's like it's all from this.
Did you happen to get a gig doing the fire festival at all?
No, but one of our guides was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he told me some horror stories.
Oh no!
I'm just saying, it's like
yeah.
I've figured out that like there is a need for photos, and there is a need for this and a need for that. But it's like it's a new. Yeah. You can create your own fucking world right now because it's available to you. It's like
I mean, all I'm trying to say is like there was a point in time, and point in time in history when somebody thought, oh yeah, you can make movies. Mm-hmm. Let's try to like make them and show them to people, and they'll pay for it, and we'll make money from doing that. It took a thought process for that, and that's kind of what's happening for your world right now. Yeah, it's a cool thing.
It's crazy. I mean,
you could like be a professor or something. Professor DeGross.
Yeah, but see, I never.
You're pretty smart.
Yeah, I mean, people forget that they think I'm just an idiot.
So
yeah, I'm kind of a smart guy, but I never went to school. I dropped out. And
no, I know a lot of people that didn't go to university or college. Yeah. Did you graduate high schoschool?
I graduated high school, but I went to community college and I dropped out.
And after how long?
Long enough. I just don't understand. Like, I think college is a way to get you enslaved to the workforce.
Yeah, to a degree. But I mean, I also think that some people need that coaching.
For sure.
Some people need. I don't know, man. I mean,
there is no art degree. Come on, you need a $200,000 art degree.
Hey, I got an art degree. Yeah, what are you trying to? Hey, that lunch.
Back your loans still?
That lunch didn't pay for itself. Come on.
Was it used as student loans?
No, but yeah, of course. What do they say? You know, life happens while you're making other plans, or don't let school get in the way of your education.
That's why when schools have wanted me to come talk to their students, and I always tell them like, no. Well, I'll tell them this or that, and they're like, we don't want you to come. Yeah. they always take it back.
Yeah, but I mean, is that a thing? I mean, I think for your future, I would be excited for you to kind of be able to kind of communicate your skills and your experiences into something positive. What do you kind of see yourself doing
in the future? I mean, I don't know how much longer this. I mean, I hope the tour stuff lasts. Once the touring is done, I've never been able to plan my whole life ever. I've never planned any of this. I've always had I've had jobs where I've gotten $300 every 2 weeks.
Right,
I've been poor to the point.
We keep it off mic here, but it's a tough life doing what you do. It's kind of a lot of
not anymore.
Craziness.
I mean, now it's great. Like personally, I've had some ups and downs.
But there's always a trail of positivity.
Yeah, seems. Totally, 100%. But financially, I don't know what I would want to do. Like, I would love to teach kids or do something with like some type of I don't know.
Yeah, maybe a means of showing others the path that you kind of forged for yourself.
I'd like to work with, go to like disenfranchised, like schools of work with kids who might honestly might not go to college.
Right.
They might not be their path.
Do the same thing.
Which isn't college isn't for everybody. And I really think that like kids shouldn't be told that. But I have some kids are like, hey, I'm not. It's not the road for everybody, but
there's something to be said about the slippery slope that is the tendency with social media. And what would you communicate as far as the?
I mean, don't let social media run your life. I mean, it runs my life now, and I've fucking sometimes.
Yeah. But you seem to have maintained a lot better.
I mean, on surface level, yeah, but sometimes I've let.
You don't smoke cigarettes.
No,
that's a positive.
I've let vices get to me. I've ruined some relationships.
It's a crazy scene.
Yeah, it is. But it's like I have almost 400,000 people looking at my photos a day.
Yeah.
I mean, interacting with me. Mm-hmm. You can get. I mean, I'm probably one of the top 10 most followed photographers on the internet. You know, which is you think about that, it's fucking crazy.
I can't.
It's like, and sometimes I let it get to me, and sometimes I screw up, and sometimes I'm just a person like everybody else. And I think a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on social media, and one day Instagram could be like, we're done, see ya, and where would we be now? So I'm trying to create an everlasting product with myself.
So do you ever like wake up in a cold sweat thinking like, oh my God, the internet's gone. What do I do today?
If the internet was gone, the world would be gone. I think it would be like a zombie movie to fucking all ends.
Everybody would be like, wait, we can only listen to vinyl now?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming by. You feeling good about this? The cats didn't bother you too much,
yeah, I'm
right?
allergic to the cats.
Yeah. Props to Spring Street.
Yeah, shout out Spring Street.
Yeah.
If
I want to see you do some stuff locally. I mean, you mentioned that you got.
I'd like to.
You got a big road trip coming up. You're going to Australia. Have you ever been there before?
Nope.
Okay.
Never been. We're gonna go to South Africa. We're gonna go to a whole bunch of places. Gonna keep on going, doing a bunch of crazy shit.
Can I put in a request? If you see any Kiss memorabilia, bring it back for me.
So there's a store called Cedar Cliff Collectibles on Cedar Avenue in Minnesota, and they used to sell bootlegs of VHSs, and they used to have all these records. But it was like the bootleg central. Like I bought Battle Royale when Battle Royale wasn't allowed to be sold in America. From that place.
Yeah.
And my friend loved Kiss, and they had all these Kiss records there. So we went in there, and I distracted him, and he stole all the Kiss records. And then we ran out, and I think they knew that we did it, and we came back the next day, and they kind of looked at us like, fuck you, and we were like, well, guess what? Fuck you. We'll turn you into the fucking feds.
Yeah.
If they fucking, if you ever tell on us. And they said we couldn't shop there anymore.
Yeah.
And then I was working at FYE, which is like a Sam Goody. And some FBI people came in there, like, looking for fucking bootleggers.
What?
And I almost told on them.
Oh, no.
I came so close.
Oh, man.
So, Kiss memorabilia?
Yeah.
I got a story. I'm just drunk.
Hey,
everyone, the pyramids are completely built due north. The pyramids are 100% due north.
I think...
look it up. Look up the pyramids are built due north. You couldn't do that unless you built them from the top. Pyramids are built from the top. The moon, we went to the moon, but the moon.
Well, that was really cool. Thank you so much to Adam DeGross for coming by and telling us his story. Now you know what he's all about and how he got to be who he is. And do follow him online on Instagram, Adam DeGross. You can also follow me, Danny Sigelman, on the interwebs, Paper Sleeves on Instagram and Twitter. And we'll get a prize Twitter going at some point, and Instagram once this kind of becomes more of a consistent thing for me. Now that I'm kind of learning the ropes here. So thank you for hanging out, and we're going to leave you with some music. My friend Jim Clark came by this summer at one point as well, and we played some music together, which you heard in the intro, and we're going to leave with a solo piece from Jim Clark. Thanks for hanging out with us here on The Prize.